Are we live now? Let me know in the chat. Hopefully you can see me now. Oh man. Can't hear anything. Are you able to hear me now? I'm hearing I'm seeing Callie saying that she can't hear anything. Are you able to hear now? How's the audio for everyone? Are you able to hear? Yep, that's fine. Excellent. Right. So we are finally live. This is really embarrassing because I've been talking for the last 5 minutes thinking I was live, and it turns out that I've not been. So I'll have to start again, it would seem. So, couple of things quickly. I'm trying out lots of new things. So I've got a new webcam, a new internet connection, so I should be a little bit faster and a little bit sharper. We've got a new microphone, whole new chat set up. The only problem is that what's being broadcast is about 5 or 10 seconds behind where what I'm actually saying. So if I say something now, it won't actually get to you guys for nearly 10 seconds. But you know, that's fine. It just means that if I ask you a question, you'll be replying to it 10 seconds after I say it, or if I ask you a question or you ask me a question, it'll be over 10 seconds before I actually start to respond to it. Anyway, that's just a wee problem we have. Easter holidays. To start off with, I just want to know, how were they for you guys? What did you get up to? What is your best story from the Easter period? Type a wee response in the comments. I ain't got much that I got. I don't have very much that I got up to. We did a little bit of gardening, which was fairly enjoyable. We're trying to do a little bit of work in our back garden, and I started potty training my son, which was an interesting process. But yeah, he's becoming a big boy now, isn't that nice? But that was basically all that I got up to. What did you guys do? We've got someone saying that they did TikTok video. Well, they actually said they made Talk videos. Good for you. We've got someone here, Jessica. She's been making a robot. I'm intrigued to know what that involved. That sounds really, really cool, though. Emily's got herself a new archery set. Be careful with that. Don't go putting an arrow through your neighbour's window or anything. I'm just reading what some people said. I think that's Aya and Amira doing some. They've said gardening. I'm guessing that you mean gardening, perhaps. Got someone who's done a 5K. Very good. Good bit of running there. Excellent. So lots of things that you guys have been up to, which is fantastic. I'm glad that you did something. Managed to keep yourself a little bit occupied during the holidays, because I know it's somewhat more boring during lockdown. So if you can find a way of making your own entertainment, that's really good. Like I said, I didn't get up to very much, but managed to get out a little bit here and there. Oh, I've just accidentally opened another application which may slow me down. I'll try and close that in a minute. Now, one thing I'm going to say is that we need to treat this as a real getting back to school process just now, okay? So, as far as I'm concerned, this is our first day back after the holidays, our first week back after the holidays, and we need to be treating it as such. So it's really important that we get ourselves back into a routine. So make sure that you're getting up that little bit earlier. Make sure you're getting a shower, having a good breakfast so that you're ready for learning. Get yourselves dressed and sit down ready to work. Having a routine is really, really helpful. It's not a good idea just to lounge about. The more routine-like you can make it, the more effective you'll be as a learner. So really try and get yourself into a routine over the coming days. This week, we'd also really like you to register yourself on Teams. So let us know if you've accessed Teams this week, just type a quick hello or "Yup, I'm on," or even better yet, when you've completed a piece of work, post it. Make sure you're posting work regularly. Now, there's lots of you guys that are already doing that, and that's fantastic. But there's some people that we're not seeing a lot of work from. So the more work that we can see from you guys, the more we can check in on you. It's really important for us to know how you're doing as a learner. The only way we can really do our job properly is by seeing your work and responding to it wherever we can. So please post your work up regularly. We really, in an ideal world, we'd be seeing at least one piece of work from all of you every day. As it stands at the moment, we're getting a few pieces of work every day, but only from a few people. So please post on Teams. And I know it maybe makes you feel like you're putting your work out there a wee bit, and that, you know, I can get that. You might feel a little bit apprehensive about it, a bit like, oh, I don't want people to see my work. But you know what? We've done that in class all year. I'm always inviting you to look at each other's jotters and check each other's work out. So this is no different. And in fact, better yet, you could actually respond to each other's work and say, you know what, I really like this. You could try working on this aspect of it. So please get yourself posting on Teams regularly. Get your work up there. It lets us know, are you getting the work, and are you understanding the work? Okay. Oh, and the last thing is, please encourage others to use Teams. I know there's some people that are just relying on the emails coming out. If you're one of those people, that's fine. Most of the stuff does come out by email as well, but we've had a lot of emails saying, well, where's this, where's that? The chances are it's on Teams. So please get yourself onto Teams if you're not, because some things we just can't put through in an email. If there's a big video or an audio file or anything like that, that can't go through email. Therefore, the only way that you're going to get it is on Teams. Anyway, we've got lots of interesting stuff coming up over the next few weeks. We're starting a new topic on space. So space is going to be our main sort of topical focus. So we've finished with forces and electricity. Although you should try and remember that stuff. You know, make sure you're refreshing your memory about Galvani with his frog's legs, and Volta with his little battery of copper and zinc, and that you're remembering that electricity and magnetism are the same thing, and Faraday figured this out by spinning a magnet inside a coil. All that stuff, you should still remember it. You should still try and remember all the stuff we did about forces and pulleys, and how, you know, if you add more pulleys, it means you have to pull with less force over a longer distance. All that stuff should still be in your head. It's really important that you keep that in there. However, our new topic in terms of science is going to be space. I'm just seeing, sorry, this is a quick aside, I'm just seeing in the comments here someone asking how much of their book they should be reading. By the end of, basically by this point, you should have read 3/4 of your book. So at this point, you should have read 3/4 of your book, and by the end of this week, you should have read basically to the end of your book, and your activities next week will be taking you up to the end of your reading book. Okay, hopefully that answered the question. Anyway, space is the main topic for science. We're also going to have another couple of focuses. So we're going to be doing letter writing, which is a really important skill. A lot of people think, well, we just do everything by email these days. But actually, even when you're writing an email, often it'll have many of the features of a letter in terms of the language that you're using and just the way that you're phrasing things. Also, actually, letters are still sent quite regularly. It's, you know, the mail is not dying. Therefore, it's really important that we know how to write letters effectively. It's a really important skill. We're also doing a wee bit of work on internet safety, which, particularly since you guys are working entirely on the internet at the moment, I think is a really important skill. So we're going to do a wee bit of work on that. And over the next 2 weeks, we're going to do a couple of things in math. So to start off with, we're going to be doing a little bit of work on grid references. Now, that's actually a first level topic. So really, you should have covered that way back in primary 3 and 4. So this is ancient history for you guys. This is going to be a bit of revision from way back in the past, and so it should be really easy. I've got a wee. I'm going to do a wee bit of work on that with you in just a wee minute. But grid references. That's going to be the little baby steps that we're taking this week. And I'm going to be honest, this week's maths is quite easy in terms of the grid references stuff. But it's going to take a step up. By the end of next week, you're not going to be doing grid references, you're going to be doing coordinates. And some of you, if you really, really get it, you might be using coordinates in really quite a high school level way. You'll see what I mean by that later down the line. But I am going to be putting in quite a level of challenge in the maths by the end of next week. So if you're thinking this week, oh, this is all too easy, that's fine, don't worry about that. By the end of next week, you will be adequately challenged. I assure you of that. So that's the plan for maths. We're also going to try and keep a little bit of extra maths on the go in the background. So we're going to do a little bit of revision of previous topics. So at least one lesson every week for the next couple of weeks will be a revision topic. So you'll have a couple of lessons on your main topic, so grid references, or the new thing that we're teaching you. But then you'll also have an extra piece of work which will be about a previous area of learning, basically. So something that we've already done, so fractions or percentages or algebra or just the 4 processes, something like that. We'll be doing that every week just to keep it in your head, to keep your skills sharp. Okay? Right, so just now, let's have a wee look at grid references. Now this is the first time I'm trying to do this, so let's see if it works. I'm going to try and switch my screen, fingers crossed, and hopefully you'll see it on your screen. There we go, yes, I can actually teach you using Active Inspire now. There we go. So what we've got here, I'm actually going to move myself out the way. Whoops, I'm moving the wrong thing there. Oh no. There we go. I can hopefully peek in from the side there if I need to. But from here, I'll tell you what, I'll move in so just my face is at the very edge here. There we go. Right, we've got a grid here, and it's just a blank grid at the moment. Okay? Now, what grid references tell us is what, and it basically refers to, oh, in fact, let's swap it the other way around. So we've got the letters at the bottom. Grid references are for locating entire squares, entire grids on a chart. So it could be on a map, it could be anything where we're needing to identify a particular area. The thing about grid references is it's not good for identifying a particular point. So if I want to know an exact point on a map, grid references aren't actually very good for that. However, if you're wanting to identify an area, a whole area, that's kind of what grid references are for. So, if I was looking at a grid like this, and I decided to put a circle in this area here, how would we identify what where that circle is? So what is the name of the particular grid reference that this circle right here is in? I'd like you to type it in the comments and let me know. It's probably a little bit much to let me know how you know that, but if you're able to type a quick explanation, if you've got time to do that, let me know how you know what that particular grid reference is. I'm seeing lots of you saying it already. Like I said, I'm probably 10 seconds behind you guys, but you've correctly identified it as E6, and that would be absolutely correct. So when it comes to grid references, we always go along what we call the x-axis, which is along the way, side to side, before we go up. So we always do the side-to-side coordinate, or the side-to-side grid reference, before we do the vertical, the up and down grid reference. So in this case, we would always do E before 6. So the up and down is always the second letter, the side-to-side, or the second digit. The side-to-side is always the first digit. So it's always side-to-side, followed by up and down, or X followed by Y. Let's try a couple more then. So we'll throw a few random shapes in here. So we'll do a red triangle there. We'll do a yellow square somewhere over here. And let's stick a star in. We'll do a blue star here. And I would just like you to type in the grid references of each one of these features here. So where is the blue star? Where is the yellow square? So on and so forth. So we've correctly identified B8 for the red triangle. We've got some people saying C2. I'm guessing that's referring to the blue star. And we've got K3. So you all seem to get this as a principle. That's absolutely fine. And rightly you should, because like I said, this is a primary 3 or 4 outcome. However, the reason we're covering this is it sets up for something later down the line. Okay, that's really important. Now, what are the shortcomings of this? Well, let's say that this was a map, and I didn't quite have time because I had trouble setting up my software. I was going to put on a map for this so you could actually see it, but I didn't have time to do that. But what are the possible problems with a grid reference? Well, let's say you're wanting to locate a particular thing. So we've got a whole map here. In fact, I wonder if I could do it very quickly. I'm going to have a quick click around on the internet. Sorry if my connection goes a wee bit. But let's say we have a map of Edinburgh. And we'll see if I can pull up a rough map of Edinburgh here. I'm not quite finding the thing I'm looking for. We'll say street map of Edinburgh. Right, here we go. That'll probably do for now. If I can get one that's in enough detail, that would be fine. See if this is going to come up in our document. It might not. This might not be working. No, I've just frozen the software, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. Right, so we've got a street map of Edinburgh. It's a big map. I'm going to have to shrink it for a while. So excuse me while I'm doing this. I know this isn't the best way to run a lesson, but like I said, I was running really short on time this morning to get things set up. But you know what? Let's in fact, if I shrink it just a couple more times, that'll probably be fine. There's probably a quicker way of doing this, but doesn't matter. Right, let's slap that on there just now. Okay, now you probably can't make out everything here. Now, if I wanted to know what a particular, where someone's particular house was, in fact, no, let's start off bigger. If I wanted to know a particular street, that would probably be relatively easy. Let me see if I can send this map to the back here. Oh, I'm going to be send to back. Here we go. We'll delete these things. So if I want to know what a particular street is, then that would be fine. So let's say I wanted to know or what square Bonington was in. Let's just say the word that says Bonington. If you have a look on the map, you could identify roughly where the word Bonington is using that. See if you can do it quickly. So hopefully someone will come up with it. I know you can't really see the writing. It's not very clear, the writing, but hopefully I've chosen a word that is bigger and clearer than the other ones. And some of you have got it. Yes, absolutely. H5 is where we've got Bonington. Now, Bonington is obviously a whole area, so actually it would be more than just those that particular grid reference. But the thing about a grid reference like this is it's good at identifying an area. So if you're looking for a particular street, then that's fine. So just knowing that you look in H5, that'll help you probably find it. So I'll tell you what, I want you to tell me what word you can find. Obviously there'd be other streets here, but they're too small to see. But let's go for E7. What would you find in E7? So type in the comments what area you would find in E7. Just waiting for a response. I'm sure it's probably you guys have probably typed already, and it's just taking a while to come through to me. And there we go. It is Trinity. So Trinity is the thing that we would be seeing in E7. So well done if you got that one right. What about Golden Acre then? So oh, sorry, I've just told you. No, let's try another one then. What two coordinates? Or sorry, what words can be found in the following grid references? So K5 and L5. What can be found in K5 and L5? And again, you've probably already started typing that, and it's probably through to me already. But hopefully, by about now, there we go. South Leith is what many of you are finding. So we've got that from Callie, we've got that from Nathaniel there. Very good. So South Leith would be there. Now the thing about this is, like I've kind of hinted at, it's good for identifying a general area. But if you were wanting to identify a particular point on a map, so if you wanted to know an exact place, grid references don't really do that. It only gives you an area, it doesn't give you a particular point. So when you're talking about road maps and that sort of thing, usually they'll use grid references. So it'll tend to be grid references that they use for the likes of road maps. However, if you were doing something that needed a bit more precision, so for instance, if you were lost in the wilderness, or you'd gone on a hill walk, for instance, and perhaps you'd become injured. Terrible thought to contemplate. But if you were on the radio or on the phone to the mountain rescue, you wouldn't want to give your grid reference, because that could be a huge area. They'd be looking all around this area. Instead, what you'd want to do is give a point that's a little bit more accurate, and that's what we're going to move on to doing next week. But I just want you to understand the difference between a grid reference, which is an area, and what's called a coordinate, which is a particular point, which is what we're doing next week. Anyway, guys, that's grid references, and it seems like you're understanding that pretty well. So for this week, in fact, I can probably go back. Oh, sorry, there's one more thing that we need to do. If I give you this screen here, let's just go back to basics again. I'm going to slap up a few more shapes on this one, and I want to see how you do. Okay, so I'll put a blue square there, and we'll go for an orange triangle here. We'll go for a black rhombus there, and let's go for a red star over here. And what are the grid references of each one of these? Aha! And there we go, we've got lots of people making the mistake that I anticipated. Because at the start of this lesson, I said that we always do the side-to-side, the horizontal digit first. So if you were identifying any one of these, you always do the horizontal one first. So you see here, in this case, I swapped the numbers and the letters. Now, on the last screen, you were always doing the letter first, okay? And the reason you were doing the letter first was because the letter was the side-to-side digit, the side-to-side grid reference, okay? We always do side-to-side before the vertical, always horizontal before vertical. So in the case of this one here, it's reversed, but you still give the side-to-side one first. It's not always letter and then number. Sometimes it's number then letter. So in this case, we would have, for this one here, we would call it 5D. For this one here, it would be 2H. For this one here, it would be 7 on the horizontal and G on the vertical. So it would be 7G. So always look at the horizontal, the side to side first, and that is always the grid reference that you give first. Hopefully that makes sense. So very quickly then, just as a wee test, let's clear off one of these. I just want to see from all of you who are watching, every single one of you, without exception, where am I putting that cross? What is the grid reference of that particular cross? I hope that everyone gets the right answer. Excellent. Seeing lots of you saying it there. 9G would be the answer. So well done if you got that one. Let's go back to our previous one quickly. So we'll go back to this one here, and I'm going to get rid of the map. And let's just put on one more cross, and in this case, I want you to tell me what it is. We'll do that one. So what would you call that particular grid reference there? So Ayan Amira is saying 9G or G9. You should know which one it is by now. I've made it really clear. You do the side-to-side one first before the vertical. So there's no excuse for getting it wrong at this point. The last one would have been 9G. What's this one? Absolutely. D3 is what people are saying. So it would be D on the horizontal, followed by 3 on the vertical. So that's it, guys. That's really all you need to know for the majority of maths this week. The other thing that you're going to be going over, I think, if I remember correctly, I only did it a few days ago, and yet it escapes me. You're going to be doing... Whoa, too big. There we go. Zoom out a bit. You're also going to be doing, I think, fractions of a number later in the week. I'll go over that probably tomorrow for you. But the key thing that you need to remember is really simple. Divide by the bottom times by the top. If you know to do that, if you always divide by the I always get them confused. Numerator, divide by the denominator, then times by the numerator. Okay, so think of it as you're splitting. If you're taking a third of something, you're splitting it into 3 equal groups, and then if you're taking 2/3, well, it's going to be 2 lots of those groups. So you divide by 3 times by 2. We'll go over that later, though. Don't worry about that just now. If that's something that has fallen out of your head, we'll get it back in there. Anyway, guys, I'm going to sign off just now. I'm pretty glad that this new streaming software seems to be working quite well. Out of interest, how's the video quality? Am I appearing fairly sharp? Am I jumpy and cutting all over the place like I was previously, or is this working quite well? Just let me know quickly how it's going before I sign off, because it'd be good for me to know how it's looking at your end. Some people saying, okay, good, excellent, right, that's fine. Good, so this is the way I will keep it set up for the next while. Thank you all for tuning in today, and I'll be on tomorrow. It's unusual I'd be doing it 2 days in a row, but it's just because today is our first day back is on a Tuesday today. I thought we'd kick it off straight away, but I'll be on at 10 AM tomorrow, and we'll go over a little bit more then. Okay, cheers for tuning in, guys, and see you soon. Take care.